And we are back, and we're going to talk about the final episode of Dark Side of the Ring for this season, covering Owen Hart Peanut Gallery. Substantial upgrade from last week's.
Yes, absolutely. It was a good episode.
It was. We got the stuff from Martha Hart, the kids. Now that they're all grown up, his freaking son is a spitting image of him with black hair. It's insane. But
and his daughter is a spitting image of him, but in a female form.
Right. Which is never a bad thing. It has surpassed Chris Benoit's. It is the highest rated episode with a .349.
Wow, and that probably is their highest rated episode of all time.
Oh, 100%. It was Chris Benoit's.
It was, yes.
Yep, it was Chris Benoit's. So obviously we know what happened with Over the Edge.
Right.
And we are going to do a more of an in-depth discussion on if they should have kept the show going, because it's a highly contentious scenario given the present circumstances. We'll talk about that more later on what we're going to do with that.
And I think that's my biggest sticking point with this was, should the show have still gone on? Because, you look at the reaction that, because JR was there, obviously, and he was on the episode, and if you look at the way that he was just like, it's like, this is like the toughest thing I've had to announce in my career, like one of the toughest days of my life.
And the people who went out there knew, it's like, this person died.
Yeah.
And then literally minutes later, you have other people wrestling. You could see the blood on the mat as they were wrestling.
You could feel where he landed, because the ring kind of buckled a little bit.
The boards underneath where he fell broke.
Yeah, so you could tell where he had fell. You could tell where he had made that impact.
Right.
And this is weird. It's really weird.
It was a weird call, but I
don't know if it was the right call. But anyways, I like the way that the announcers kind of were reacting to it. I like it from that perspective.
It was very professional.
Because it was professional. It was JR and Jerry the King Lawler who were doing the announcing. And Jerry Lawler went backstage, and JR was just trying to keep the everything going.
Right.
Just trying to keep like the show going on. And people were just sitting there in the stands, and you could just hear all the commotion and rumbling, because like everything just stopped at that moment.
Right.
And his opponent, Owen Hart's opponent, the Godfather, also had some things to say about it. But really, I think what I got most out of it was from the family, the Hart family.
Right.
And, I can really appreciate like what they built that legacy on. And it's very clear to me that Owen Hart will never be in the WWE Hall of Fame, not because he wasn't a great wrestler, but because his family just refuses outright to have him inducted.
And justifiably, yes. 100%. Martha had the harness locking mechanism still with her possession that held up her husband 90 feet in the air. Yeah. And this thing. So basically
it was a little fucking whatever. It was like a sailboat clip or something.
Instead of the clip that not skydivers, but what rock climbers use, which is like your general harness, one of the best things you can use, because it's such a deep clip that even if you like jangled and opened it, there's no way you can get over it unless you really worked at it.
Right.
This thing was a sail ship clip. So basically if you push it in and pull it back out, it automatically releases. And when it does it, because basically it's like if you're caught in a wind where you're in danger, you can easily grab it, pull it back, and shove it forward, and it unclips the sail itself, so you stop that momentum.
Right.
But they used this because they wanted to get a certain effect. They wanted him to lower enough and then unclip and fall on his face as a comedic thing. He was going to be like 3 feet up in the air, and then he was going to unclip and like, ploof, like flop on his face, because the Blue Blazer, which was a character that he was portraying, was the comedy equivalent of Sting.
Right.
Because Sting was using the same thing.
Right.
Now, they did this stunt before, but they were using like a very professional.
The professional clips.
And also, they had control of when Owen Hart was released from the harness.
Right.
This one was him, and he was not experienced enough to do this on this kind of a level.
Right.
And it was a shoddy. It was shoddy as fuck too.
Yeah,
like the
was.
harness itself was garbage.
I mean, that thing was not designed to lift someone of his size and lower him like that.
Right.
That's way too much.
Right. He told referee Jimmy Corderas to move because he was like, I know I'm going to die,
right,
but I'm not going to take anybody with me. So Jimmy Corderas said, all I heard was, move!
Right.
And then he hit the turnbuckle, he went backwards,
right,
and he fell on his face in the middle, basically in the middle of the ring.
Right.
That's impact that I don't even think. I hope it was painless for him, honestly.
Oh yeah, that's just a terrible way to go.
It was a terrible way to go, and
you know, Owen Hart's story too was he didn't want to be in this business forever.
No, he wanted to make his money and go home and be with his family.
Right.
And he was an amazingly talented wrestler.
Right. But that wasn't his passion.
No.
His passion was to be a dad and a husband.
Right.
And that's all he wanted. That's what they focused on. And that's what I like about this episode is that it really kind of humanizes someone like Owen Hart.
Right. And Owen Hart has always been the guy. I don't know why they took it out, but Owen Hart was very famous for his ribs, so they talked about it.
Right.
And Martha, when she got the call from McMahon, Owen Hart was such a good ribber and he did such good impressions that she thought it was Owen playing a prank on her. And no, Mr. McMahon personally called her and told her what was going on.
Yep.
And
she's like, you want to come down to Kansas City.
Right. And the doctor said that. The doctor called her and said, you may want to come down to Kansas City. I want to tell you face to face. She's like, you know what? I think she knew. I think she's like,
you know what? Just tell me now.
If you're already calling me, I know what happened.
Yeah.
I know he's dead.
Right.
And, you know, Owen Hart, like the last day, people even said he was not himself.
Right. And I really do think that people sometimes might know when it is almost they're about to die.
I know 100% that some people have this instinct where this is going to be it.
Yeah.
And there's no way to prevent it. The only thing that I can do is do the best I can. He told his son when he got on the plane, take care of your sister and your mom.
Right.
That's eerie.
Yeah, that's really eerie.
I feel like he knew something.
Right.
People thought that he actually committed suicide.
Right.
And I'm like, there's no way that this guy would have left his family like that.
Right.
That is not characteristic of Owen Hart. He was not cheating on anyone.
Right.
He refused this stuff for being cheating. He's like, I don't want to do this crap. It was just so weird. The one thing that I hated that Martha even brought out, I kind of knew about it, but this is stupid.
Yeah.
She filed the lawsuit, a wrongful death lawsuit against WWE, and the Hart family went against her.
Not the whole thing. Not the whole family.
Not the whole family, but
there were parts of the family that were like very much not on her side because the thing is that if the Harts are wrestling, like if this thing went to trial and Vince McMahon got and WWF like actually got sued for this.
Oh, they did. They 100% did. They've had to pay.
No. Like they went to trial and they got.
Oh, yeah, no,
prosecuted.
they were selling it out. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think we'd ever see a Hart wrestle for the WWE. Like that would be it. Like all the Hart family, even to this day, would never have been involved.
I know, but how selfish is that? This man died because of their shoddiness.
Right.
And
I think it should have gone to trial. I think it should have gone to trial.
Right. And they settled out. She probably reluctantly agreed to it.
Right.
Because of what was going on with the family.
Because she didn't want to alienate her entire... I think she did it because she didn't want her family to be alienated from the rest of the Hart family.
Right. And they still have some resentment towards her, but whoever really did that, whoever really went out of their way to sabotage Martha when her husband, one of your direct family members, died at the hands of this company...
Right.
and you're trying to change this and say don't do this because you're going to ruin it. How selfish are you?
Right.
Like, that's disgusting.
You're putting your work in front of your family. Like, that's a pretty fucking selfish thing.
Right. It's totally selfish.
Right.
And I know, well, Bret Hart was not even in WWE at the time.
Right.
And
But Bret Hart took Martha's side.
which is good.
Yes.
I think it was like some of the older ones who really didn't get
Some
to
of
that
the more
point.
traditionalist ones who were like, oh, we don't want to piss off
We don't want to piss off WWE. They're the only game in town,
Right.
and I hope that they should feel fucking ashamed.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because that is 100% disgusting.
Right.
If one of my family members died in that way and I'm suing, and I would never do that to
Right.
my worst family ever.
Right. You take your family side when something like this is going
Right.
on.
That's you're talking out of two sides of your mouth
Right.
at that point. It's like,
Right.
oh, it's all about family with me, but I don't want to ruin this company, so this wrongful death of a
Right.
family member means nothing over this.
Right.
That's stupid.
Right. So,
And obviously they had two kids, so it's
Right.
like, this bitch, I don't care who you are, she is going to be directly, I'm saying bitch, not being mean, but colloquially.
wow.
In their mind, wow, I spit that out. She is going to be linked with your family forever because there are two kids from her
Right.
with Owen.
Right. And none of the Hart kids are wrestling.
No.
None of Owen Hart's kids.
No one of Owen Hart's kids are wrestling. One of them is a lawyer, and the other one's a journalist.
And-
I think the daughter holds a lot of resentment towards the business
Yeah.
over what happened.
Right.
But I disagree
Right.
with her on it. But at the same time, she was 3 when he died,
Right.
so I think that the son has a different
View.
a different view of what's going on.
Right.
I understand it, but I think that her approach is incorrect.
Right.
So anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean, but that's just the way that's just how it went. So
Right.
that is Last of the Dark Side of the Ring
For season 2.
For season 2.
Next week, at least I'll talk about that because it doesn't link. We're gonna backtrack to some of the
Previous
topics.
episodes, yeah, some of the topics.
Some of the topics that were discussed. So next week's episode is actually going to be was hardcore wrestling good for the business? Because New Jack was talking about.
Right. So that's going to be a debate style. So
Yep.
we are going to do our debate.
Right.
And we'll see who wins out at the end of the day on that. But when we come back for break, AEW Double or Nothing.
Yeah. You're about to listen to the Pro Wrestling Zone podcast, a Majestic production property. One of the quickest rising professional wrestling podcasts on the market today, and the most entertaining podcast in the history of existence. Please note, before diving into the show, that this is for entertainment purposes only, so myself and Peanut Gallery engage in exaggerations, dirty or offensive jokes, and satirical comments. If you are a triggered little snowflake who gets professionally offended, this is not the podcast for you. If you do enjoy our work, we ask that you contribute to our Patreon page at patreon.com/MajesticP. Contributors get access to the Discord, vote on what topic we cover, and enjoy exclusive content such as pay-per-view watch parties. Here's a sample of that from NXT TakeOver Portland. What about the other company that Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly went from?
Oh,
The one that they were signed exclusively to.
Oh, Ring of Honor?
Oh no. Oh, that's gonna be a lot of fun. Oh my god! I felt that in my hand. If this is something you believe you would enjoy, visit our Patreon at patreon.com/MajesticP and become a patron. This ensures that we continue to entertain you for years to come. Without further ado, sit back and enjoy the show.